This Hexi cardigan has been haunting me since 2023, and every time I look at it, I feel guilty and overwhelmed. How am I ever going to finish this thing? Have you ever started a project with the best of intentions only for it to float around your house like a little ghost? Well, this Hexi cardigan is that for me. Let's talk about the mess, the motivation, and why we should pull out these long haul whips more often. Hey, I'm Emma and welcome back to Woodvale Lane. If you want a bit of crafting chaos, you've come to the right place. So you might be wondering, how did this beautiful cardigan end up in my long haul whip pile? Well, besties, I will endeavor to answer this question. So a little bit of backstory, I was super excited one day to start a Hexi cardigan because I had found the perfect yarn for it. And that was this Yarnspirations Karen Cotton Cakes in the color Rose Whisper. I went to Spotlight and I saw it sitting there and I thought, you know what, I love this yarn. I've used it before and I really want to make something out of it. I personally find that wool is a bit much during winter time in Australia. Some people may disagree, but it doesn't get that cold in Sydney, especially inside. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make myself a really cute cropped Hexi cardigan and I'll be done in no time. This yarn often goes on sale at Spotlight and that's when I picked it up. I did what most crafters do, and that is check the dye lot to make sure that all of my yarn was the same. And I purchased it with like the best of intentions. I got home and I immediately started working this panel. And honestly, it whipped up so quickly, I was amazed. I made sure that I started with the colors that I wanted and they all flowed the correct way. So I wasn't just randomly putting colors next to each other that weren't meant to be there. This panel approximately took about 2 balls of yarn and I changed colors occasionally just to make it flow correctly. So instead of having like a color stop in the middle of the row, I would join on another ball and finish off that row. And all in all, I was so proud of how this one turned out. I even wove in all of the ends except for that one. So I was gonna get the 2 panels, pin them together and see if I wanted to make any adjustments, if I wanted to make it longer on the arms, or if I didn't really vibe where it was sitting on my waist, I would make it a bit longer. Easy, I thought. So one panel I did in about, I don't know, maybe a week, which is very quick for me. So with this panel done within 1 week, I had started on the second panel, which is this one. I soon realized that the 4 balls that I had purchased from Spotlight were not going to be enough to finish the whole project. And then I kind of got a bit lazy with it. I went back to work and I didn't really reach for this project and pick it up as much as I should have. During the next month, I had finished the second panel. So once I pinned them together to have a look at the fit, that's when I noticed one of the crushingest things that could happen to anybody that's making a project. I don't know if you'll be able to tell on camera, but in real life, it's kind of super obvious that these 2 panels are from 2 different dye lots. I don't know what happened. I checked the band and they have the same dye lot for both. Well, for all 4 of the balls have the same dye lot, but clearly you can see that there is a darker brown that runs through this one, and it's not really obvious at all where the darker brown is in this panel. And that just stopped me in my tracks. I couldn't believe it. I just didn't notice it when I was making it. But once they were together, it was like very obvious that one of these panels was much lighter than the other one. Nightmare. And like any good crafter, I phoned a friend and was like, do you see a difference in this? Is this bad? And you know what, we ummed and ahed about it for a little while and I eventually decided I was just gonna put it away for a while until I figured out what to do. This is my Spotlight bag, which it has been residing in ever since. And it has just been floating around my house like a little ghost the whole time. Like from the corner of my eye, I would catch a glimpse of this project and be like, I remember that it existed, and then I would feel guilty and I would just move it to a different part of my house and try not to remember that it existed at all. But like I said, it was haunting me. Sometimes my husband would bring it back around to me and be like, oh, hey, you should really finish this or put it away or something because it's just floating around. And that's just been like what it's been doing for a couple of years. It's just been floating around. I haven't put it away in a drawer. I've just been leaving it in the whip bag. And honestly, in my dreams, it has been saying, finish me, finish me. So it is just time to finish this Hexi cardigan. In 2024, I had a little bit of motivation and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and sew this up. But like any other PCOS girly out there, my weight fluctuates a fair amount. So I didn't know what to do. I put it on, it was too small, and I guess those feelings of like shame and guilt came up again and I just put it away. It's 2025 now and it's been floating around my house like a little ghosty for too long. So this was my solution. I made a back panel with some granny squares, kind of cute. And of course, because I wanted to make these squares aesthetic, I now have so many loose ends to weave in, and that's kind of like the bane of my existence, but I'm kind of okay with it. I'm feeling a bit more motivation just to get this done. Each square took me about 20 minutes to complete, and then with the free time that I have, it takes me about one night to finish weaving in the ends to like my satisfactory standards. But you know what, that's okay. I'm making actual progress on this thing now. So why am I doing this now? It's because I'm trying to get through my stash, and if I can get all of the Whisper rows off my list, I will be very pleased. I have one set of 5 granny squares. I have one completed side all woven in. I have another piece that I really need to weave in the ends for. But again, that's not a big deal. If you have any recommendations for something that I should watch while I'm weaving in my ends, let me know below. And then after all that, all I have to do is make a border. And I think I'm gonna do like a really cute scalloped border maybe. I was thinking about doing ribbing, but I just don't think it's the vibe that I want because I want an open sleeve. So the sleeve kind of comes down to here on me. So about 3/4, perfect length if you ask me. During winter, I'm always like pulling up my sleeve, so I don't want anything to... So why do I think some of these end up in the whip pile and some of them don't? Well, I think it's once we hit a roadblock, and it has an answer, but it's gonna be a little bit annoying to finish. That's generally when a project just ends up in the pile for me. I don't have many of them. I have a couple of blankets, I have a beanie, and I also have this cardigan all waiting to be completed. I'm probably not going to finish the blankets, and that's okay with me. I'm gonna undo them later and use the yarn for something else. I think it's okay that even if we start projects and we don't finish them, as long as we find a use for the yarn or we have something else that kind of sparks our joy, I think that's okay. Just move on to something else. As long as we come back to the pile occasionally, take stock, and then figure out what we're gonna do with this, because we shouldn't just have projects floating around, haunting us, causing us, you know, mental anguish, grief, or even just like giving us a bit of a jump scare occasionally. No, besties, this is the year that we get rid of those projects that just don't serve us anymore. So even though it's a little bit annoying, I am gonna finish weaving in all my ends. And look, that's another end I've just finished weaving in. Now is definitely my time to finish this project. I'm motivated, I'm excited. The weather is a bit colder, it's a bit spookier. One less thing haunting me is what I want in my life right now. I actually do think that it was worth picking this up again. It was really fun making little granny squares to fix my sizing issue. And even though weaving in ends is kind of laborious, I don't have much else going on because it's winter time. So I'm not that annoyed by it at the moment. And I'm really loving the colors, and I'm excited to wear something a bit brighter for winter. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for part 2 where I actually finish off this cardigan, which will be next week. And don't forget to let me know down below in the comments, what is your longest running whip? Do you feel any guilt and shame for not finishing your projects? All right, see ya besties.